So welcome back friends. So in this chapter I will discuss about the reduced mass of harmonic oscillator model system. So what I have teach you in harmonic oscillator model system is that the two atoms they are bonded by some spring, and the spring constant of this spring is like K. Okay. Now say that the coordinates of the first atom is x1 and the absolute coordinates of the second atom is x2. Okay, and the mass of the first atom is m1 and the mass of the second atom is m2. So x1 and x2 are the position of the atom 1 and atom 2, and m1 and m2 are the mass of atom 1 and atom 2. So the main question that arises in harmonic oscillator system is that out of these two mass m1 and m2, which mass we should use. So that is either we have to use the mass m1 or we have to use the mass m2. So if the mass of these two atoms are same, then there will be no confusion, only one mass m will be used. But suppose that the mass of these two atoms are not same, they are different. So in that case, out of these two mass, which mass we have to use, that we will discuss in this chapter, that neither m1 or neither m2 we will use. Instead of that, we will use the concept of reduced mass. So how this reduced mass can be derived, and what is this reduced mass and what is its importance, that will be discussed in this lecture. Okay, so you can see that the coordinates of the first atom is x1 and the coordinates of the second atom is x2. So the bond distance between these two atoms is r x1 minus x2. Okay, now I have already derived that the potential energy function between the two atoms is expressed as half kx square. This thing I have already derived in my previous first lecture of harmonic oscillator model, where I have derived the potential energy function as a function of x. And what is this x? This x is basically a deviation from the equilibrium bond distance. Equilibrium bond distance is the bond distance where the potential energy Vx is minimum. So at that point the equilibrium bond distance is, if it is r0, then x is basically r minus r0, or we can say what is x, that is the deviation from the equilibrium bond position. And the force that is acting between the two atoms can be expressed as F minus dVx dx. Okay, so this, according to Newton's third law, the force is equal to mass into acceleration. And what is acceleration? Acceleration is d2x dt2, second derivative with respect to time. So again the question arises that what mass we should use, either m1 or m2, or we have or reduced mass. So that is the main confusion. And in my last lecture I have derived the expression of the this function xt, that is equal to a cos omega t. So the derivation of this function xt, you can if you want to see the derivation of this function, you can go back to my previous lecture where I have derived this derivation. Okay, and another important parameter is omega, that is called the angular velocity, that is equal to k by m. Omega is called angular velocity. So all those things I have already introduced to you in first two lectures of the harmonic oscillator model system. So same question arises to calculate the angular velocity also, which mass we should use, and the same question also remain to derive this force also. So this thing we will derive. So now according to the, I have already told you that according to the Newton's law of motion, the force acting on a substance will be equal to m into a, where m is the mass of that substance and a is the acceleration of the substance. Okay, so there are two atoms. Okay, in the harmonic oscillator model system, there are two atoms. So the force will act on this atom will be like this, F1, and the force on this atom will be like this, F2. In case if these two atoms are compressed, if these two atoms are stretched out, then the force will be acting like this for this atom, and the force will be acting like this for this atom. So you can see that the direction of this force for these two atoms are opposite to each other. Okay, so suppose that for the first atom, what will be the force? For the first atom having the mass of m1, the force F will be equal to m1 into d2 x1 dt2. x1 is the coordinates of the first atom. So for the first atom, the force will be m1 into d second derivative with respect to time for x1. Okay, so this will be equal to kx. The force is equal to kx, that we have already derived that force is neither, that is minus second derivative with respect to this potential energy function, or you can say minus ddx into half kx square, that is equal to kx. So the force, the expression of the force is basically the spring constant k into the x, that is the deviation from the equilibrium position. So for the first atom, the equation is like this for Newton's law of motion. Now for the second atom, the equation will be m2 d2x dt2. Now you can see that with respect to first atom, the force for the, in case of second atom, the force is acting on the opposite side. So instead of kx, what we will use? We will use minus kx. So this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. Okay, now what happened that if we just add these two equation, plus kx and minus kx will cancel out each other. So the final equation will be m1 d2 x1 dt2 plus m2 d2, this will be x2 d2 x2 dt will be equal to 0. Okay, now if you can see that if you just rearrange this equation, you can do it. If you just rearrange this equation look like this. You take out m1 you can factor out m1 m2 d2 dt2 m1 x1 plus m2 x2 m1 plus m2, that is equal to 0. Okay, so you can see that the total, what is m1 and plus m2, that is nothing but the total mass of that system, that is the total mass of the whole molecules or the whole system. Okay, and what is this quantity? This is nothing but the center of the mass of the molecule. Okay, so you can see that this whole big equation can be easily truncated into this form, that big M into d2 big X dt2 is equal to 0, where this big X is equal to the center of the mass of the particle. So suppose that the two atoms are bonded like this. So you can there is a center of mass. The center of mass is in between these two particles. Okay. So if the mass of this particle is bigger, then the center of this mass will be more inclined towards this atom. If the mass of this atom is bigger, or the mass of this atom is more, then the center of this mass will be inclined towards this atom. So like that. So this is the concept of the center of the mass of that particle. M into d2x dt2 is equal to 0. So what is this equation means? This equation means that the position of the center of the mass of this particle do not change with time. Okay, so the position of the mass of this particle remain same with time according to this equation. Okay, so you can see that the two atoms are bonded, and suppose this is the center of this mass of this particle. This is the center of mass. So this center of mass will remain same. There will be no translational motion of this molecule. No translational motion. So if translational motion occur, then only the center of this coordinates of the center of the mass will change. But if the molecule just stretch, vibrate, like stretch out or stretch in, then there will be no change of the center of the mass. The center of the mass will be unaffected by these types of vibrating motion of these two atoms. So there will be no translational motion according to this equation, and the center of the mass will remain fixed. Okay, so now again we will go back to this Newton's equation, that the two atoms, they have coordinates x1 and x2 having mass m1 and m2. So according to the motion, Newton's motion, F is equal to m into a. For the first atom, the equation will be m1 d2 x1 dt2 will be equal to k x. Okay, and for atom 2, the equation will be m2 d2 x2 dt2 will be minus kx. Now this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. Now in my previously we have just added these two equations. Now suppose that instead of adding these two equations, we can just subtract equation 1 from equation 2, then we can see that what will happen. Okay, now we can just make this equation bit more simpler by saying d2x1 dt2 will be equal to km1 into x, and for this equation d2x2 into dt2 will be equal to minus k m2 into x. So you can say this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. It will be easy for us. Okay, we will not do 1 minus 2, we will just do 2 minus 1. So the equation will be d2x2 dt2 minus d2x1 dt2 will be minus k by m2x minus k by m1x. Okay, now we just simplify this equation like this: d2 dt2, this is a common factor, minus x2 minus x1 will be equal to minus k into x. This is the common factor, 1 by m2 plus 1 by m1. Okay, so this the equation that we will obtain is and the x2 minus x1, you can see that what is this x2 minus x1. I have told you x2 minus x1 is basically x. That is what is x? X is basically deviation from the equilibrium position during the stretching, during the vibration of these two atoms. X is the basically deviation from its equilibrium bond length. So this is the x. So instead of writing x2 minus x, we can write d2 minus d2x dt2, that is equal to minus k into x. Okay, So you can see this. You can see this equation. We can substitute this with m. We can say that m1 plus m2 by m2 m1 is equal to 1 by mu. We can substitute this with 1 by mu. Then the equation will be simplified to d2x. dt2 will be k by mu into x. Okay. So you can see that we can take out this mu into this side. So the equation will be mu into d2x dt2 is equal to minus k into x. So you can see that this is basically nothing but acceleration. Okay, and k is basically the minus kx is nothing but this force. So if we compare this with Newton's equation, that force is equal to mass into acceleration, then this mu is nothing but the mass of the effective mass of this combined system. Okay, so instead of using the mass of the separate two atoms, we have to use an effective mass of this two combined system, and the effective mass is called nothing but the reduced mass. So reduced mass is generally expressed as mu, and we have derived that mu is nothing but m1 m2 plus m1 plus m2. So while we are calculating all those things like omega to determine the angular velocity, we should not use the mass of any of these two atoms. Instead of that, we have to use the reduced mass of this two atoms. So this is the reason why we are taking the reduced mass for calculating all this quantity. So up to that, if you have any questions regarding this lecture, you can ask me through the comment section, and I will try to answer all of your questions. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel Chembiosis for regular updates of different lectures of quantum mechanics. Thank you.